what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we are on day 17 of the advent of cyber. We're working our way through it. We're almost there. We have till the 31st, so we've got a little bit of time, but let's go ahead and get into it. So first thing, the background is Marty May was going crazy, right? Marty May was getting nuts. She basically figured out that there was some CCTV footage that they needed, and they couldn't get access to it. That's basically the short of it. And so Glitch and McSkitty thought they were trying to frame Byte, and so they're trying to prove the innocence, basically. So what we got to do is go through Splunk, and we've got to actually figure it out, right? So first thing we got to do, spin it up, search and reporting. You can see we click on it, and we're going to follow it the exact same they do, right? So search and reporting, you're going to go and you're going to hit right here. You're going to hit index, right? So the biggest thing is we go to search and reporting, and we're going to type this index. Now you need to do this so you get all the logs, right? If you don't do that, you're going to struggle. So there we go. Finally loaded. So you can see now we have this page, index equals, and we want index equals, and we need the exclamation, or the exclamation point, the all asterisk, right? Change this to all time. That way it indexes everything. We can see everything. Now you can see as it loads, we got everything. It looks like a lot. We really don't have that much. It may look like a lot, but it's not. So really not crazy. If we look, not a ton. Okay, so now let's see what the next steps they say are. So after running the query, you're going to see there's two source types. If you go to source type, there's only two. There is web logs and CCTV logs. The majority are web logs. That makes sense. Web logs are going to be more. Now you go to CCTV logs and you look. There's really not that much information. The time is wrong. That's one thing you can tell because the time is the same time for all of them. That's when they're getting ingested, not the time, because you can see timestamp says none. So what do we need to do? We need to fix that, right? So we need to fix it, and you can see it when I double click that, it automatically added that source type is CCTV logs for me. So understanding the problem, well, we don't have valid times. So how do we parse through these CCTV logs if we have no idea what the times are? This could take forever, right? So we got to fix the problem. So how do we do that? Well, we go here and we say extract new fields, right? Click this first one. Doesn't really matter which one. All right, there we go. Click the first one, make sure it's on the first one. And you can see they're going to tell you something about, like, they don't care which one you do, but if you do the first one or something like that. There's two options for extracting the field, using regular expression or using delimiters. So you can do either one. Doesn't really matter whichever one you want. So now we can say, hey, here we're on the next one. So we selected the first one, and there it loaded. We hit next. We want regular expression. Next. Okay, we're going to select this first part of the field, right? Because what we want to do is, if you go down here and look, you want this first part, and we want the timestamp. So we're going to need we're going to name it timestamp, excuse me. So there we go. So we want this to be called timestamp. Timestamp. Now, I want to make sure that they just did lowercase, okay? And what you're doing is you're just telling it, hey, when this piece of the log, I want that to be called timestamp, right? That's all you're saying. Now you're going to say the log out. If I can get the whole thing here. Oh, I don't want that space in there. Come on. It's driving me nuts. Okay, I don't know why that space is there. It's driving me nuts. I can't get it without it. There we go. Okay, we want this to be the event because I want it to be what happened. Then the 5, this is user ID. So I don't know if they named it ID or user ID. User ID. So user_ID. And all you're doing is you're telling it, hey, these logs are going to come in. Here's what I want them to be. Now you say username, in this case, byte, which is kind of confusing for this one because like I would have assumed that's like a size. They're telling you the size. It kind of looks like 5 bytes. Now session ID, that's what this one is. So we want session ID. All right. So now we got the session ID. We got everything set up. We say, boom, add extraction. So now we should be good to go. Now we need to go and validate. So we say next. Okay. And you can see it's doing it for us. It's pretty much doing what, and you can see what it's telling us what's going on. Hey, someone logged out, someone's watching the camera, someone's downloading the recording, whatever the action is they're doing, right? It's important to know that some of the logs may have a different format. If they do, it's fine. We may have to re-extract the fields from those events. We will get back to that later. Okay, cool. So validate, we look at them. We can see that there's a couple here that have different formats. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just because that successful's in there. Okay, so now let's save and analyze. Okay, save, finish. Explore the fields I just created in the search. Let's make sure that's what they want to do. Yep, that's what they want to do. All right, and as that's going, we'll look and we'll see, hey, look, we have usernames now. Well, when it's done, we need to change this to all time because it wasn't in the last 24 hours. And then you can see user ID, there's 7 of them. But if you look, value 5, okay. Well, we know 5 is the is byte, right? So if we go to username, there's the names: byte, software, glitch, malware. Okay, so byte's definitely doing the majority of it, right? So right now we're looking at just CCTV logs. So it also appears that some fields have not been parsed exactly as we expected, which we knew would happen. The session ID. As previously mentioned, some of the logs are a bit different from the ones we use. Some of the log formats that our parser could not pick out below are login successful. It's important to note that there can be various ways to achieving our goal. We will try the method as covered in the steps below. Okay, so they're just saying there's multiple ways to do this. So let's go to settings and fields as shown below. So we need to go to settings, which let's see where they actually went. They went there to settings. Okay. I don't think we even have a settings. Do they go back to the dashboard? Let's see. So settings. We could go back to the dashboard if you wanted, but apps. Nope, we want that. Okay, let's just go to. We'll find it. What are we trying to do again? Add data, fields. Okay, so fields as shown below. So can we just add new fields instead of doing all this? So let's close this. Okay. Search and reporting. Go back. Analytics. Maybe you do have to go all the way back. Removing the fields extraction. So I don't really want to go. Okay, so you gotta have, which makes sense, right? Okay, so let's go to dashboards. Is there an settings here? Nope. Let's go back to search. So they're under the search and reporting. There's the search, right? Removing the fields. So you notice it says messages, settings, activity. So they've got to be going back to the just default page. Yep, they just went to the default page. If you're looking for it, they're just at the default page. I don't know why they didn't tell you they went back. I assumed they did when I saw it, but I didn't think it had licensing for all that. So now we went to add data, fields. We're going to go to field extraction right there and delete the regex pattern. So we're basically going to say, hey, we need to get rid of this pattern, right? So this tab will display the patterns, fields extracted so far, which is what we're looking for. So here we're going to say filter, and you can see filter by CCTV. So Splunk, we want to change this to, they're on search and reporting, so change this to search and reporting. So maybe I just didn't have the settings. Maybe you do. I didn't have the settings up there. At least I didn't see them. If I saw them, if they were there this entire time, please tell me, because I'm an idiot if I didn't see them over there. And I'm probably an idiot. They look like they've been here the whole time. So we're looking for search and reporting, filter CCTV, they were probably there the whole time and I was looking to the left. Okay, so hit enter. Now you can see CCTV logs, extract timestamp, event user ID, event user ID, session ID. So there's actually 2 of them, but we're going to just get rid of the name session ID one. Delete it. Okay. There you go. Now open field extractor. There you go. Now we're going to update it ourselves. So all we're doing is getting rid of what they think they're looking for and telling it what we want it to look for. So we're saying source type, right? We need to say in the next tab, excuse me. So this time after selecting the right source type as CCTV logs and time ranges is all. So source type, perfect. Okay. We want the time frame to be all though, not, we'll just leave that as is. Well, they said they have all time on there, so we'll make sure it's all time. Is there all time presets? All time. There we go. And they left the. Oh, they did choose CCTV logs. CCTV logs. Okay. We got CCTV logs. We got all time, source type, whatever. In the next tab, enter the regex, which obviously we have to just copy. You can make this yourself, but it might take you a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and add that to the regular expression. What are we looking for? Choose this time after selecting the right source type and range, click on I prefer to write the regular expression myself. Where was that at? Oh, there it is. Okay. There you go. Save it. Okay. When we click save. Oh, I should have selected preview. So we'll go here and we'll say preview. Why can't I select preview? There we go. So there we go. Looks pretty good, right? At least it looks pretty good to me. Now click on the next page. Once again, click the Explorer, the fields I just created in search. So save. Do you click save and finish? Okay, I'm just going to click save and finish and see what happens. Explore the fields I just created. There we go. Okay, now we actually have, just guys keep changing this to all time, by the way. Just know that. Now we have them, and there shouldn't be, you notice that there's not that high number of session IDs because it didn't find all those. We told it what to find. So this is how you're just parsing is all we're doing. We're just telling it, hey, these logs are going to look like this, so it knows what to look for. So now we need the event chart by user. Well, if we look at username, again, still pretty similar. There's just not those odd and end ones and twos that are not in there. So we can do the pie chart if we wanted to. I don't really need to. It's pretty obvious who's doing the most. We can create a summary of the event count to see what activities were captured in the logs using the following query. Okay, so we can say, hey, if we want to show me what was happening the most, watch the camera is probably the most likely. Examining rare events. So we can look at rare events, which would be login fails, and delete recordings. That's what we're looking for, right? We're looking to see, because they said they didn't have the recording. Looks like we have a few attempts to delete it. So let's go ahead and look at the deleted recordings. And you can see delete recordings. There's only 2. So let's view them. Only 2 events. Delete recordings by byte, recording ID 111. Delete recordings by byte, recording ID 3610. Okay, so there's 2 events that they tried to delete them. Okay. Now it looks like we have a few attempts to. This means that we have a clue. Yeah. Okay. So let's now examine the failed login attempts first. Right? Did somebody try and guess the passwords to log in and then get in? And as soon as they got in, they got into Byte's account most likely, and then they tried to use that to delete the recordings. Probably. So we'll go ahead and say, hey, let's look at it. So pretty much what you'd expect, right? Byte, glitch, marta, then byte, and guess what? there's only 3 bytes at the there. My guess is they probably got in, but let's keep looking. We found some failed login attempts against 4 users, but the main remains the constant, the session ID. Well, you can see the session ID remains the constant. Okay. Let's narrow down our results to see what other events are associated with the session ID. So we have the one remaining constant. Let's see if we can figure out what did this thing do. What's the session ID got all entail? Well, I don't see it. Was I supposed to put the session ID? Oh, it took the session ID away. Crap. I was supposed to copy that session ID so that we actually could use it. Okay, so here's our session ID. I want to, whoops, keep that. Okay, and then we say, hey, now here is where I need to copy this, but I don't want to get rid of that session ID. Okay, now we can copy this and say, I want this session ID. We got to put the session ID here. And it's because I'm looking for this session ID, right? We hit enter. Well, we see the byte, glitch, martyr. We already knew that was coming, but look at it here, right? We got watch camera, delete recording, watch camera, delete recording, watch camera, watch camera. So it's pretty obvious who deleted it, right? The question is, who is this, right? So now we can see, let's see how many events related to the direct deletion of the CCTV footage were captured. Well, we already know there was the 2, right? Good, we have some comprehensive information about the attacker, his notorious activities. Yeah, he deletes the logs. We see that right there. Now, let's use this information to extract from the earlier investigation and correlate it with the web logs. So we're correlating now. So we took the CCTV, we tracked it down to the root cause. This person deleted this. Now, where did this person get in? How did they get in, right? So now we're going to say, hey, we want this index web logs, and we need the, so we want index, and we want equals web logs. Please don't just look, okay. Index equals web logs, and then we want the, we'll get rid of the quotes, and then we'll do this, and we'll say, all right, so now you can see we've got all these web logs, only 41 events, really not that bad, right? And we can look at, during the examination, it is observed that only one IP address is associated with a suspicious session ID. So pretty quickly, one IP address, 3 accounts, multiple actions. Wouldn't it be a little weird? It's pretty safe to say this IP address is the malicious one, because a normal user doesn't log into an account, try and log into someone else's, and try and log into someone else's, then go get in, delete stuff. Like, that's not normal activity. So pretty safe to say that that's probably the IP that did this, right? Now, can we correlate the IP back to someone other than Byte? Well, if we had Byte's computer, we could, if we had firewall logs, things like that, we could say, this isn't the computer Byte was using for anything else, so it's probably not the same person. So now we've got the IP. Yep, 41 events. Let's narrow that down to let's narrow down the search to show results associated with IP addresses found earlier. Okay. Let's see. So we go to, maybe I'm just missing it, which I probably am. So status. There it is. Okay, so status is right now just the 1, right? 41%. So if we go to, let's narrow down the search to show results associated with the IP address found earlier. Well, I don't even remember the IP address found earlier, so let's see. Maybe we just got to do this. Nope, where's the IP? Client IP. So we go here, click here. Okay, now we go to status. There's still only 1, but you can see it's the same events. All right. It looks like there's 2 more session IDs were associated with the IP address found earlier. Were there? I didn't even see those. Oh, it's because I didn't get rid of the session ID. Let's do that. Okay, there we go. I have to get rid of that session ID. So now it looks like there's 2 sessions, right? Values associated with that IP, and one of them is actually 78%, 77% of the events, which is pretty high. So whose is it? Let's find that out, right? Looking closely, we can see the logout events where the session ID was changed. Can we correlate the session IDs in the CCTV feed logs and find any evidence? Well, let's look. So we can see this is a different session ID, right? There's the session ID right there. Just click it. And it doesn't really matter if you keep the client IP because we know it came from the same IP, but normally you wouldn't want to keep it. So we'll say, status, we'll say, get rid of that and put CCTV feed, and then just put the same thing as before. And you put in these wildcards so that this session ID could show up anywhere as far as like whatever value. So there we go. There's our boom. Okay. Use the session IDs associated with IP addresses shown below. Great. We were able to locate the username associated with the attack. Well, where is it? Let's see if we can find it. Because they're showing it right there. Watch camera. Whoever is watching the camera. Well, what we could do if we really wanted to is we could look at user. Well, there's 480 users. We see there all that crap. Do I need to change to CCTV? Yep, that's what I need to do. I'm looking at the web logs. We need to change to CCTV. Feed. Okay, and look at that. Malware. Malware. Mayor malware. Ooh, we knew that was coming. All right, let's answer these questions. Extract all the events from the CCTV feed logs. How many logs were captured associated with the successful logins? Okay, so let's go back through. How many successful login events were there? Well, if we go to login successful, looks like 6 something. Okay, so we'll just run that command again. Okay, login successful, 642. 642. What is the session ID associated with the attacker who deleted the recording? Well, that one, if we go here, delete recording is right here. That's the person that deleted it, but if you go back and look, that's the same IP address that Mayor Malware uses for his regular everyday driver. Pretty easy to correlate. What's the name of the attacker found in logs who deleted the CCTV footage? Malware. Boom. Pretty easy box. If you've never used Splunk, you might be a little bit confused. There's not a whole lot to dive into here because this is just, you got to play with it. This is just how most log ingesters are. If you know their language, you can do it pretty quickly. You can do it all GUI too, like just clicking on these things and stuff like that. But the whole point is to mess around in here, trying to get used to it, get familiar with it, so that way you can just know it. It's got nothing to do with you trying to be an expert in this. It's, are you familiar with the dashboard? Can you log into it? Can you use it? If you can, cool. You can probably use most SIMs. It's just a matter of figuring out the intricacies of each one. So hopefully this helps you guys. Hopefully you guys like the content. Please hit the sub and like button. Thanks, guys.